I've been painting in a secret bubble. I have been working in solitude. Nobody was seeing these paintings, no one. I was just down here in private painting. I was in an aha moment the whole time. There was never not an aha moment. But at a certain point, I did start to feel like, okay, I'm on to something, like it's coming together. This is a body of work now. I knew I was on to something when I couldn't stop. There's that struggle between apathy and just creative renaissance. I call it a Trina-sance. It's my Trina-sance, where I am like feeling on fire some days, and then other days can't even get out of bed, you know? And then some days I can't sleep for painting and painting and painting. But it's my Trina-sance for sure. And I've had a couple little spells in the past like this where I was really on fire. But this was completely out of the blue. The passion that I just painted with for a year straight. Normally I'm working on like more than one at a time. So having 2 or 3 up at a time, moving between them, running back and forth between them. If that creative energy is on fire, while I'm inspired, I need to just move right on to the next painting as quick as possible. I consider myself a surrealist at heart. I have one painting that was done in, I think, '87, and it's a surrealist painting, and it's very interesting to see that my process is still very much the same. Instead of drawing a sketch, create a collage, a surrealistic collage, and then paint from that. This is from that series where I was like mixing together. I have always used collage to make a sketch to paint from. I don't know if I can work on that girl tonight. I had a photography studio for about 12 years in downtown Greensboro. Painting took a back seat for a long time. I just walked away from all that and decided to go back to UNCG and paint. And it was the best thing that ever happened to me. I just painted for about 3 years. I wasn't really working. Just painting and sculpting and studying art history. It was very self-indulgent, considering that I had teenagers at home who were just eating tomato soup every night of the week. But I think it was a good example for me to set for them, that you don't have to get trapped in your life and that you can do what you feel passion for. It's magic when you can get texture and the spontaneity of it. It begs to be touched. I love to see an artist's work where I can see the brush strokes. And even the masters, when you get up close on them, you can see the strokes. I left this thin, really flat surface, which I don't normally work with a flat surface, but I wanted to work fast. So I left so much of it, so it's kind of different. Oh boy, I can't wait to see what's gonna happen. Everything I'm doing is chance. So when I start a painting, I don't know what image I'm gonna use, I don't know what text I'm gonna use. I do love that, the surrealist view of letting things subconsciously come together. I like to write on the work with pastel while the paint is still wet, and it'll be just the right amount of wet to dry tackiness, and I'm ready to go, and then I'm like, fuck, I've got to have something to write. What am I going to write? And I just go to the bookshelf and I grab something and flip around, and not flip for long, just, this will be good, and just start writing. Behold Osiris, the scribe of the holy offerings of the gods all. So I don't want anybody to think I've got some like deep thing that I'm trying to say, but at the same time, these books are on my shelf. I have read these books. So fucking awesome. When riseth he in horizon. Your mind is trying to make sense out of what it says, because there's letters that you can clearly see that there's type, and you want to know what it says. The meaning gets deeply embedded into the canvas, I feel. It's up for interpretation. Or maybe not even relevant, what it says. But it's not necessary for the viewer, in my opinion, to know what it is that I'm trying to say. And I like the enigma of them trying to figure it out. What? What am I supposed to do? I've never had this. I've never had this. I've never done this with this much paint. Am I committing to this? Like, so here's what happens a lot. In the middle of the painting, there's like a big blub, but never this big. Even that. So right in the middle where the face is, there's always some kind of thing that's gonna mess up her face. I feel like I need to take some of it out. I just have to figure out how to do it without compromising the, so that, like, the natural flow of it. If I take some of this out, I'm gonna spoil the natural flow of the way the paint falls. Like, this is where my subject will be, you know, like right in the middle. So some of this has got to go. Okay, so just in the middle is what I'm concerned about. Or I can't, it's not ethical for me to continue to mess with it. But you can see the difference between the type on this one versus the type on that one. It's like it's gotten, they keep getting thicker and thicker. It's gonna take forever for it to dry, even with the fan like blowing at 100%. The work that I'm doing right now, although you can attribute whatever symbolism or whatever that you want to attribute to it, but when it boils right down to it, for me, it's line quality, composition, color. And so these paintings are basically, in my opinion, collage expressions of my understanding of those rules. I felt like I was magnetically drawing this stuff to me. I've always loved the medieval woodcut images. They're dark, they're graphic, simplified images. This is the painting that I started last time, and it was just a white canvas, and now the heart, it's not right. I could tell you every reason why. I can think of like 6. Learning the elements and principles of design and art and composition and color and all these things inform your decision making. First off, I love this color of purple, but it's not separating from the background. The thorns aren't. And then I don't think that having knowledge of the elements and principles of art is hindering me. It helps inform my decision when I go to touch the canvas. And then I was like really lazy with my cross hatching, but learning about it has not stifled my creativity. It has made it where you can see something in your mind and actually see it to fruition. Feeling afraid, like terrified. Like if I'm not afraid, if I'm not a little bit scared, then I'm just not pushing myself. So I always in the middle of a painting have this moment of just complete and utter fear that, oh, I'm ruining it. Like, oh, what am I doing? Where's this headed? Okay, that moment of fear that I keep talking about, this is it. This is terrifying. Oh my God, let's see what this peak looks like. I think it's too thin. But if I don't feel that, I'm not pushing myself and I'm just being formulaic. Second test. Oh my God. I am terrified. Like I'm scared. I'm terrified. Oh my God. This is crazy. Oh, it's going on pretty good now.
So how would you respond to the idea that anybody can be an artist?
Anybody can be an artist, for sure. Anybody can be an artist. The feeling of being terrified is more exhilarating. I don't want anybody to think I have anxiety about this shit. This is what makes me feel alive. But if you just keep making the same piece of art over and over again, you don't have to go to college, but you do need to try and get better. And the way to get better is to look at artists that came before you and, sorry, fuckers, learn about the elements and principles of art. I'm always trying to capture immediacy while still controlling it. Trying to honor the immediacy.
When we started, did you think we would be ending on something like this?
I didn't know anything. I definitely would not suspect myself of painting a giant heart. Oh, this is gonna be good. A suicide story mixed with comic strips and then a medieval death urn. This book is so heady, I can barely even read a page at a time. This heart is so fucked up looking. This is the part where you're scared. It's beautiful. Kids were throwing magic markers at my head. It was terrible. I don't like that part. I don't like that part where you have to promote yourself. I'm never purposefully. I have cleaned brushes. That's where you clean a brush. The more you know you don't know. So people who say they don't need education just don't know. Oh my God, this lavender. What am I doing? I talked about all the things. Okay, well, let's paint.